going on, guys? This is South Beach Speed. We're back with another video. Today we're gonna go over whether or not the C8 Corvette is a supercar. Now, Chevy claims that the C8 Corvette delivers supercar performance, but does it really compete with big boys like McLaren, Ferrari, and Lamborghini? Today we're gonna find out. Let's talk about numbers. Performance-wise, the C8 is rated to do 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. I personally haven't gotten 2.9 seconds yet. Granted, I'm not the greatest at launching it. I think my best was a 3.2. But we'll give it to Chevy. 2.9 seconds. The Lamborghini Huracan gets 0 to 60 in about 2.9 seconds too. Now, when we look at a McLaren 570S, for example, that goes 0 to 60 in about 2.7 to 3.2, depending on which model you get, I believe. And of course, it's the same thing with the Huracan, but we're talking about just base. If we're talking about base, actually, let's talk about strictly base. Base, the 570S does 0 to 60 in about 3.2, 3.1 seconds. And if we're gonna compare a Ferrari that's in that same price range too, the only one that I can really think about is the California. It's somewhat affordable for a Ferrari. And I think that one that's the slowest of the bunch. That one does 0 to 60 in about 3.4 seconds, I think. So performance-wise, the Corvette's there, honestly. It's right up there with Lamborghini. So on paper, when it comes to performance numbers, I guess you could say that the C8 Corvette is a supercar. But we all know that a car is more than just numbers, and it's more than just what's on paper. Let's go over the price difference when it comes to all these cars. The Lamborghini Huracan, I believe MSRP is somewhere around $250,000 for a base model. So $250,000 for base model, you get 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. That's awesome. And the looks are pretty great too. Now, the California, I'm not too sure if they still make the California, but from what I can remember, you can find a California for around 130, 140,000, even cheaper if you go with an older model. With McLaren 570S or even a McLaren GT, for example. Let's go with McLaren GT because I think those are a little cheaper. I believe you can find those for as cheap as like 130. And then we have the C8 Corvette. If we're going strictly base model, 1LT, no track package, then no track package, then we're talking, you're probably walking out, the MSRP is around $60,000 to $70,000. If I were to compare even if I were to get a used Lamborghini Huracan, okay, that's about $180,000. I could buy 2 new C8 Corvettes, and I can still have extra money for modifications. I want you to think about that. So in terms of price, the value is definitely there. Now, when it comes to drivability, I think that's where you're gonna see the biggest differences. With the Corvette, this is made for people who are gonna be driving their cars daily, in my opinion. With supercars or supercar companies that are like Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, these cars, in my opinion, I don't know if they're meant to be driven daily or driven on the street daily, but the practicality isn't there compared to a Corvette. The Corvette has that supercar vibe to it because of the mid-engine placement, but it's also more practical because of the suspension. I think when you have an actual supercar, the suspension's a lot stiffer. I've never dailied a supercar, so I can't really speak on how the drivability is going to be, but I've dailied this car for a few months now, for about I don't know, I'm at 4,000 miles now, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's pretty comfortable. And I can't imagine having a Lamborghini or a McLaren or a Ferrari driving that daily would be anywhere near the same as this. Now on the street, do people notice my Corvette? Yeah, 100%. Anytime I wash my car and then I just drive back home or whatever, people are gonna be staring all the time. That's just how it is. And I think that's normal because of the look of the car. If I had a Lamborghini or if I had a Ferrari or if I had a McLaren, do you think I would get more eyes? Of course. But I don't really care about that. If you care about that, I think, and you can afford it, then I say go with the Lamborghini. Because Lamborghini is just a more known brand. If it was up to me, if money was no option, I would honestly get a GT3 RS. It's one of my favorite cars to drive though. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's so easy to go fast in this car. I don't drive anything past the speed limit. Anyway, if you're looking for attention, can you get it with the Corvette? Yeah, you can get it with the Corvette. Are you gonna get more attention with actual supercars? Yeah, you're gonna get more attention with actual supercars, obviously. Now, what did we learn today? Is the Corvette a supercar? Performance-wise, if we're only looking at performance, yes. But, in my opinion, no, the C8 Corvette is not a supercar. Only because it doesn't have the same wow factor or the exclusivity as a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a McLaren. You know, you see one of those cars, then your jaw drops. When you see a Corvette, you're like, damn, that's cool, but it's not a supercar. So yes, the C8 Corvette competes with other supercars, but in my opinion, there's nothing like pulling up in a Ferrari. Would you rather have would you rather have 80% of a Ferrari for 30% of the cost? I think that choice is yours. Let me know what you guys would do if you had the money. What car would you buy? And if you didn't have the money, what car could you afford to buy, I guess? Would you pay for a Corvette or would you wait and buy something a little more expensive? All right, guys, that was South Beach Speed, and I'm signing out.